It is game day for the 49ers. I even have a text title ready for it. All caps, game day, 49ers Packers preseason opener. So I'll head down to the stadium in a few hours. But first, we have to talk about Charles Omenihu. Wrote a piece on Charles, talked to him on Wednesday. This is one of the most insightful conversations I have had with a 49ers player in 6 years of covering this football team. So I think you should go ahead and hop on over to The Athletic and check out the full conversation. I'll make a video today about it, just talking about it. This is the video that I'm making, actually, not something I'm doing in the future tense. I am talking about Charles Omenihu right now. So that article is in the chat section. Go ahead and check it out. I'll put it in the comment section a little bit later. It is on The Athletic, so it's, I think, $1 a month. But this is pure unfiltered 49ers insight, and it's about the defensive line. And, you know, this really started last year, the phenomenon of Charles Omenihu. When the 49ers traded with the Texans, they inherited a raw player. Charles was, I mean, just so upfront in this interview about his shortcomings as a pass rusher. And he basically said that the Texans didn't coach him. And the 49ers, well, things very different with the 49ers and Kris Kocurek, and not just Kris Kocurek, but the talent on this team. And he talked about everybody from Nick Bosa to D Ford, who's no longer with them, but Ford, Armstead, all these veteran pass rushers, they're so collaborative. It's this environment that just develops skill because of, you know, how everybody talks about technique and how everybody is so focused on details. Well, Charles was very straightforward about his shortcomings. And, you know, just really, I thought, revealed how the 49ers have turned into this machine on the defensive front. One really great example from the piece comes from Nick Bosa, who guided Charles Omenihu through a big time weight cut, a 15-pound weight cut. So I'm going to make this bigger on the screen, and let's just look at the two questions from the Q&A about Bosa. So I asked Charles, you came in at 280 pounds after the trade last year. Are you still at that weight? And Charles says, oh, no, I dropped so much weight. I'm like 265. And so I asked him, is that because they want more explosiveness off the ball for the wide 9 alignment? And Charles said, Nick Bosa really helped me with this. Generating power isn't about being all big and heavy. It's all about speed, acceleration, and get off. So with my stance of being lighter in weight, it will help me get off the ball faster and accelerate. It'll help with flexibility with my lower body so I can be lower and get under guys without speed, length, and power. It's just as strong, even stronger now. And now there's a little bit more pop to it. This was so cool. Then, you know, the interview goes on. Charles and I talk about, you know, I said, well, that's just physics, right? That's just physics. You add more speed and the force is going to be greater on the other end. And he said, that's exactly it. And you remember this? Omenihu against Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith, one of the strongest men in the NFL. That was the wild card round. Omenihu owned Tyron Smith in 23 pass rushing snaps. Omenihu had 6 pressures against Dallas, a sack and a half. He, you know, the K'Wan Williams interception, he backed Tyron Smith right into Dak Prescott. Tyron Smith is a guy who's once bench pressed 700 pounds. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say one of the strongest men in the NFL. And Omenihu, 6'6", well, he was about 280, 275 last year. You know, with raw technique, just overpowered him. The punch right to the shoulders, Tyron Smith went backwards. That's how much natural ability you have with Charles Omenihu. But now he's cut 15 pounds, and he says he's just as strong. And, you know, with more speed and that 15-pound cut, he's generating even more force. So guys like Tyron Smith are probably going to get knocked back some. And I think it's so cool that Nick Bosa is helping coach these 49ers, because Nick Bosa, he's cut weight over the past, you know, ever since joining the league in 2019. He's actually cut weight. He's leaner. And that speed means that he's actually generating more force at the line of scrimmage. And now the rest of the 49ers defensive linemen are doing that. Charles talked about, you know, potentially becoming that next Arden Key. That's the MO of Kris Kocurek and this 49ers defensive line, right? Take guys who didn't have that much success elsewhere but have tools to succeed and actually coach them, unlike other teams. I mean, you'd think at the highest level of football, everybody would be coaching details, right? This is the NFL. Not the case. You know, Charles said it's different with the 49ers. They're actually coaching these guys. So you bring in Kerry Hyder a few years ago. Hyder, career year, 8.5 sacks. Bring in Arden Key, who had 3 sacks in 3 years with the Raiders. 6.5 sacks for the 49ers. And he got those sacks rushing on the inside. And that's something that, is another innovation that Kris Kocurek really just hammers home. Starting in Detroit, when he had the right collection of pass rushers to do this a few years ago when he coached the Lions defensive line, Kocurek started moving lighter, more athletic defensive ends to defensive tackle and pass rushing situations so they could work against guards. And guards would be totally flummoxed by it because guards are used to, that hand-to-hand combat with bigger defensive tackles. And Kocurek has made guys a lot of money with this technique, moving outside pass rushers to the inside in certain situations. Most recently, Arden Key, who worked against a lot of guards for the 49ers last year. Well, I noticed in OTAs that Charles Omenihu was starting to line up a lot at defensive tackle. It's happened in training camp, not as much, but I asked Charles about it. How excited are you to be rushing on the inside like Arden last year? And Charles just lit up in this interview. He said, he says he's a more natural inside pass rusher. That outside pass rushing is something that, he has had to catch up on and learn from Kocurek and Bosa. But inside at 6'6", 265, oh boy, this is going to be crazy this year for the 49ers, because the games they could run, the combination of rushes that they can deliver with how deep their defensive line is, I think it's going to let guys like this shine. So maybe we see a little bit of Charles today. It's game day. 49ers and the Packers. The last time the 49ers played the Packers, it was actually in this calendar year, and the 49ers shattered through the snow globe. This is the favorite article that I've ever written for The Athletic, at least on a post-game deadline. I got to write this last year, the 49ers shattering through the snow globe at Lambeau Field. So just $1 a month. You could see the deal right there. Make sure that you sign up for The Athletic. But that snow globe piece, just a little background. It looked like a snow globe. I was looking down through the glass at the field at Lambeau Field. The 49ers offense took the field as the snow was falling. And, oh, my God, it was you had to consider the context at the time, right? The 37 seconds had remained in week 3 when the 49ers scored the touchdown Garoppolo to Kyle Juszczyk, and Aaron Rodgers burned the 49ers with those 37 seconds. So when they got the ball back with 3 minutes left in the snow globe of Green Bay in a tie game, it was imperative that the 49ers not only, of course they wanted to score to win the game, but it was almost more important to just run out that clock, right? You didn't want to give it back to Aaron Rodgers with a few seconds left. So they had a couple things they had to do. They had to score and they had to manage the time very well. And they exercised their 37-second demon, right? The 37 seconds left to Aaron Rodgers by converting a 3rd down and 7. That was the Deebo Samuel run on the trap play, which was the same play that Raheem Mostert, the trap draw, that Raheem Mostert had scored on to open the NFC Championship game in the 2019 season against those very same Green Bay Packers. So it was so poetic. 37 seconds erased by 3rd and 7. And it was that 3rd and 7 was converted by the same play that the 49ers had beaten the Packers with in the playoffs just 2 seasons prior to that. Amazing stuff. The pass actually set up the run on that final drive. Jimmy Garoppolo outplayed Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers couldn't score. Aaron Rodgers couldn't pick up a first down in the cold at Lambeau Field down the stretch of that game against a defense that was starting Dante Johnson at cornerback. So don't tell me that the 49ers were some kind of juggernaut you couldn't move the ball against. That was a defense that scratched and clawed and through injuries to shut down Aaron Rodgers when it mattered most. And then Jimmy Garoppolo with 2 injuries trotted out there with the snow falling. They threw a pass to Kittle on first down. It was lined up against Devondre Campbell in the slot linebacker, so that was a no-brainer. Garoppolo made the right read. He found Deebo Samuel for 14 yards a little bit later in the drive, and then the Packers were nickel on 3rd down and 7. So the Packers were respecting the pass on 3rd down and 7, and the 49ers, Shanahan couldn't decide, do I run, do I pass? But he decided to run because it was so important that the 49ers make the clock run, to make sure that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't get the ball back. So they decided to run, and George Kittle knew as soon as they lined up that it was money in the bank, that they're going to be able to hand off to Deebo Samuel, get that first down because he was going to be able to block a safety and not a linebacker with that nickel package that the Packers were in. So Deebo battering ram all the way through for the first down, and the 49ers never looked back. Robbie Gould, that's him right there. Robbie Gould getting picked up and lifted by... I can't tell. Who lifted Robbie Gould? Anybody remember? Scott. red gloves right there. I have no idea who that is lifting Robbie Gould up, but that's Charlie Werner just to his right, and that is the 49ers shattering through the snow globe. So they have the Packers again in just a few hours. It's just past 10 o'clock Pacific time. The game's at 5:30 at Levi's. I did the preview for this football game yesterday from San Francisco. It was a day off from the facility. I found a cool little narrow street in San Francisco that I showed you guys in the preview, so go check that out. Main thing is get out of this healthy, get Trey Lance some reps, allow that mechanical progression to continue, developing, and let's see what his leadership skills look like. Let's see if he feels like a field general out there, right? That's all you want out of this first preseason game from players who are going to make the 53-man roster. Beyond that, I'm going to be watching those linebackers and undrafted guys, not Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair. I'm going to be watching, Seguno Luby, Marcelino McCrary-Ball, Jeremiah Gemmel, those types of players. I want to see how they're flying around to the football. I'm not going to make more of this preseason game than it actually is, but I'm going to be really excited to see some live tackling, to see those running backs, try to break some tackles. It's going to be fun to just get back in that game atmosphere. So that's what I'm looking for today. All right, guys, cool. I am going to go swim in the bay now, keeping this video short. Ton of content coming today from Levi Stadium, as there will be all game day. So sub to The Athletic, sub to this channel. Instagram and Twitter are going to be a buzz today. So I'm going to be posting the both. So Lombardi himself on Twitter and on Instagram. So make sure to check it out. Of course, the video here was initially about Charles Omenihu. So do not forget about that. Charles Omenihu might be the next breakout 49ers defensive line product. One more time into the chat section. This will get you fired up. Reading this conversation will get you really, really fired up. So it is in the chat section. So go ahead and do that. Charles Omenihu, man of the hour. All right, everybody take care. Have a great Friday. Enjoy the game tonight. And, tune in here because you're going to have a lot of analysis, a lot of 49ers talk coming up. Bye now.